Frustrated farmers have taken their protest to outside the National Farmers Federation headquarters in Canberra, pushing to scrap the Murray-Darling Basin Plan.
Live now to our political reporter Trudy McIntosh here in Canberra. Trudy, give us a sense of the mood there.
Well, Kieran, we've seen there are about 150 protesters march from outside Parliament House, where they were this morning, right down Brisbane Avenue here to the National Farmers Federation headquarters. They're inside, protest organisers are inside at the moment speaking to Tony Marr, the NFF boss. They're hoping to get some sort of breakthrough when it comes to this, but when you talk to the NFF on background, they say that they're not in favour of completely scrapping the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, which is what many people here actually would call for. But this morning, before we marched down here, we saw the Nationals leader, Michael McCormack, come out of Parliament House and speak to these frustrated farmers, but he certainly didn't get a very warm welcome.
You could walk up there tomorrow and tell the Liberal Party, we're crossing the floor, your government stuff, do something. You could do that tomorrow. I don't know if you're sitting tomorrow.
You might save your jobs there.
The National Party is not going to exist after the next election unless you grow some spine and stand up. Where's the passion? I haven't seen any passion from you. You're like a poker player.
This is the second day of these protests that we've seen here in Canberra. Yesterday there was around 2,000 frustrated farmers outside Parliament House, and a large convoy of trucks also making a lot of noise and trying to get a representation and MPs to come out and speak to them. That's what we saw this morning from Michael McCormack. He says he at least came up and fronted and spoke to people.
You know, you've got to turn up. I've turned up today, you know, and I've listened to them. I've seen their hurt, I've seen their anger.
So angry.
Well, yeah, I do. I mean, they can't get an income. I get that. I understand that. Of course, we don't allocate water. The states do that. So we've got to work in with the states to get a more flexible, more workable outcome for them, and we'll do just that.
So we're outside the National Farmers Federation headquarters, and I'm joined now by Carly Marriott, who's one of these main organisers of this now. Carly, what's your message to the NFF in particular?
Well, the NFF, it's interesting, they were out and out against fixing the plan. They were on Q&A, we all heard them say they wanted to deliver it in full and on time. And interestingly, as we rolled into Canberra, they put out a press release that said that they understood that the plan was flawed and it does need to be fixed. So whilst we can see through a media release, we know that we need them to support us. We know that they're the national lobby group for farmers, but get in front of us and stay in front of us. And if you're going to back us, well, back us right through till this thing is fixed. Don't make a media stunt out of this. Don't take us for idiots. And if you want us to back you, will you back us?
Well, they've told me today that they don't think you should be throwing the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, that it's an overall plan, sure, it needs fixing. Yeah. What's your message on that?
Yeah, we understand the Basin Plan probably better than the NFF and the politicians in charge of it. And we know that there's solutions. We have solutions. We've tried to deliver it to them in every form possible. And if they're now willing to listen, that's great, because that's the first step in understanding. They need to understand it, and we need to work collaboratively to fix this, because believe it or not, they do have political clout. We've got the understanding. If we all get together, we could possibly fix this mess.
What did you make of Michael McCormack out here this morning? He got a pretty frosty reception, it must be said, by some of the farmers. Do you think the Nationals leadership are doing enough internally to push for more when it comes to water?
Oh, I would say I was just unimpressed, unperturbed. Him turning up was pathetic. He had nothing to say. He has nothing to deliver. He hasn't acted on our behalf. He's done nothing for us. And in my mind, the Nationals are dead in the water.
What about... Well, Kieran and Annalise, it's a pretty resounding message, it must be said, from right out here at the National Farmers Federation headquarters. Plenty of people in that building where you are in Parliament House looking at these scenes today. It's a pretty strong issue that they're facing now.
Absolutely. Trudy McIntosh, thank you. And that is something that the Nationals have been under pressure about, as you heard just there. But they have been saying that they have been trying to speak to these protesters. We spoke with National Senator Perrin Davey, who said she was out there speaking with them yesterday, trying to organise more of them to come in and meet with the Water Minister, and that the Nats are doing everything they can.
When I met with the delegation yesterday, we actually unpacked what they were talking about. And a lot of their issues are actually outside the Basin Plan. So the question is, do you need to can the plan to achieve what they're calling for? And my response to that is no, we don't need to can the plan. If we can the plan tomorrow, New South Wales Murray General Security would still be on 0% allocations, because that is a state regulation. If we got rid of the plan, we would still have water separated from land and being traded downstream to almonds, because that's separate. And water would still be flowing to South Australia, because that's the Murray-Darling Basin Agreement. That was reached you know, the first version in 1915, but more recently, all the way through the 80s, they had adjustments. And it's a living document that probably does need a review, but the Commonwealth can't do that in and of itself. The Commonwealth needs to work with the states.